Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stronger by Community. This is Season 4, Episode number 6, and I am so excited for today's guest. Her name is Rebecca Force, and she's actually been on Stronger by Community before. Just to give you a quick little introduction, Rebecca is actually one of my business coaches, and she has been absolutely incredible, especially as I kind of transitioned from being a mindset coach to moving into more of like a confidence and communication coach. So I'm so excited to introduce her today again, but I'm also really excited for the topic that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about collaboration versus competition. And that's something that not a lot of people in this online space talk about enough. The thing is, with collaboration, the thing that I absolutely love about collaboration is it really is based on the premise that a rising tide lifts all ships. Hey Tasha, so excited to have you here. So I love the idea of collaboration because it allows both people to kind of lift themselves up while lifting other people rather than just pitting everyone against each other. So let's bring Rebecca on. Hold on one sec. Yay, so happy to have you here, Tasha. I would love to know as we are chatting what comes through for you on this topic. Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Long time no talk.
I know.
It's been a whole hour.
Right?
Uh, so I was just kind of introducing everyone and talking a little bit about how much you've helped me. So why don't
I
you?
love watching your journey. It's been so exciting.
It has been absolutely incredible, and I'm so grateful to just have you supporting me and lifting me up. Um, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone, tell them what you're all about, and then we can get right into it.
Sure. My name is Rebecca Force, and I am a mind and business coach. Long story short, I had an original blog for several years, never made more than $700 in it. Learned that I had a lot of mindset blocks, went on a self-healing journey, and that changed my business forever. And so I am now here to help heart-led people do any healing that they need and to create businesses that they love and truly light them up.
I love that. And, I mean, I love that so much that I knew that I had to be a part of your coaching program.
Yes.
Um, and I am so happy that I decided to jump in with both feet because it has led me to where I am today.
I know. It's
Um,
beautiful to watch.
Thank
Gives me chills.
you. Yeah, me too. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about collaboration and competition, or versus competition. So, you and I have talked about this many times in our
Mhm.
conversations. Just this idea that a rising tide lifts all ships. So, let's start there. I want to know what you think of that quote, what it means to you, and kind of how it leads you in your own business.
I love that quote because it is so true. There's a sense of more abundance when we're all in these ships and we're all rising together because we're there to help each other. There's no lack mindset like within competition, where in competition, they're like, uh-oh, the tide is rising. I better get my boat going. And like, your boat, go over there, go shoot. Because like, oh, there's only a certain amount of clients or a certain amount of money or resources or time or whatever it is.
Mhm.
So competition comes with so much lack and it's very me, me, me. If someone else is
Right,
doing well, then I can't do well. Whereas
right.
collaboration, it's about abundance. It's about I get to do well and I get to be excited that you're getting to do well and we get to have this fun time together. And then other people benefit because we're helping each other out, we're helping them out, and it's just a more community worldly feel versus competition.
Absolutely. And, I see this all the time, especially in this online space. I remember when I first started out here, somebody said to me, you know, not just coaches in your industry are your competition,
Mhm.
coaches across the board in every industry, and not even just coaches, but like any business owner is your competition because there's only a finite amount of money in this world and people only have so much to spend. So let's break that down a little bit because I'm sure you've heard like similar beliefs. So you mentioned earlier that that comes from a place of scarcity. So I'd love to hear more about what you like about that and what you take from that.
Yeah, it's just a lack mindset that there's a finite amount of money, there's a finite amount of people buying, which is kind of BS because how many billion people are in the world? And so
Right.
people get in their head, they're like, oh no, if this coach is doing well, that means no one's going to buy from me. That means my business is going to fail. So it's just coming from this fearful lack instead of going,
Mhm.
hey, there's something possible for me. And what people don't understand, kind of two things, is one, people have more than one coach. I have
Me.
more than
Let's
one coach.
go.
Yeah. And so when you have more than one coach, you get to see like different things and you get to piece your business together how you want it to. You can learn a little from them, learn a little from them. And so you can get help from a variety of sources. And
Right.
then the other thing is there's always going to be a hole in the industry. Everyone is different. Everyone is going to teach a different way. Everyone has a different way of speaking, of showing up.
Mhm.
And so there, how can there be competition if no two people, no two coaches are the same? There can't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like one of the ways that I've always solved problems that's actually really benefited me is I like to look at things from multiple different angles. I like to see all of my different blind spots. And so by having multiple coaches, one of the things that I've actually done over the last like 2 or 3 months is I'll often ask the same exact question and bring the same exact issue to all of my coaches, get their perspective, and then make the best decision based on what feels good for me. And so I'll take bits and pieces from you, and I'll take bits and pieces from my other coaches, and I'll combine them. And rather than just kind of doing what I was told by one person, which is how you end up pigeonholing yourself and making mistakes, I'm able to make a much more informed decision because I've looked at every single angle. And so if I was still in this mindset of like all of these coaches are actually competing like for my attention and for my money,
Mm-hmm.
then I wouldn't be able to get the benefit of having all these different perspectives. And at the same time, like if my coaches took that mindset of like, we all want Stephanie's money, like let's hold her back,
Mm-hmm.
then you're holding me back as a student from like fully exploring my potential and fully getting what I needed. Um,
Absolutely.
and so it kind of brings me back to like almost college and high school where as we're learning and as we're growing, we don't just have one professor. We don't just have one teacher. We have different teachers who specialize in different things, and there's a reason for that. So I would love for you to speak a little bit more about that.
Sure, yeah. Just like I think I was alluding to this earlier, like
Hmm.
everyone is different, even the same like business coaches. So
Right,
you have three different business coaches and they're all going to teach something a little differently because they're going to all each have their unique perspective and
right.
all their unique ways of speaking or communicating or listening. Just like you go to college and you
Hmm.
have that one, you pick a major, but even within
Right,
that major, you're going to have like various, let's say a science major. You're going to take different science classes. So you're still learning about
right,
science, learning it from different people, or you're going to biology 101 and biology 102. And so you're learning
right,
from so many different perspectives. And that is so great because, like you said, if you're only learning from one person, you're just becoming a copy of that person. You're not becoming your
right.
own, if that makes sense. And,
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all shaped by our different experiences. So like you and I have actually been in programs together, but
Okay.
because we have different life experiences that we're each pulling from, we each bring something to the table, you know? If we're all just learning from one person and then we're all creating similar programs, because there's only so many programs you can create, then that kind of eliminates competition in a way because it's
Yeah,
all just the same thing. So
absolutely.
right,
And
so
that,
if it's, oh, sorry, go ahead. We're both getting excited.
yeah, I know. But that just helps more people too, because I do a lot of deep healing work with various students. I also do business coaching with various students, but speaking is not necessarily one of my strong suits. So
Hmm.
if someone was like, hey, I'm really struggling with speaking up or this and that, even though you're one of my students, I could be like, hey, I know Steph is really great at that. Why don't
Right,
you go see her? Instead of being like, oh
right,
no, if I point her over to Steph, I've lost a client and now I don't have anything.
right.
But I'm like, no, she needs all the different help. She can have help from as many people
Absolutely.
as she needs. So that's
Absolutely.
collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that a lot of us too, I want to switch gears a little bit. Because as you know, I'm in the 9 to 5 workplace, so I work with a team of people. Um, and so oftentimes what I've seen when working with other people, especially when I was starting to train and learn and grow into the corporate world, is people would like withhold information from me or like not teach me things because they didn't want me to surpass them. And like now that I'm stepping into the role of a manager, I'm kind of on the other side of things. So as a manager, I have always just believed like in my heart, no matter what, I'm going to teach my people in a way that they can surpass me any given day of the week. I I would absolutely love it if my team members rose above me and became my boss one day, because that would mean that I did my job well. So I'd love to
100.
hear what you think.
Absolutely. And I love that. And speaking from experience, as I have had coaches telling me, no, you can't do that, or no, you shouldn't do that. And looking back, it's like, was there a competition thing? Because now I am in the business space getting clients. I don't know.
Right.
But um, as far as, yes, people surpassing us, that's kind of our job. Like you don't know what someone's starting point is. And I
Right.
had this conversation too, where you started, I think, around the same time as me, at least in this side of the business, but I've
Hmm.
gotten ahead with you with a much smaller audience because I learned so much taking all these different courses, doing all this
Right.
work. But you've got such a larger audience than I do. So I would not
Right.
be surprised if I teach you what I learned and you go on and surpass me. But then
Right.
with collaboration, maybe I'll come to you for help. And then maybe I'll surpass you again. And maybe we're just slingshotting each other forward and forward and forward. And that's
Exactly. Exactly. And like the thing about surpassing, I think too, is like it's not a bad thing. Like it's not this is not if you look at life as like a competition, like, oh, like this person did this, so like now I have to go beat them.
yeah.
You're really limiting yourself and you're really limiting your capacity to possibly kind of leverage what they've learned and what they've gained um to move yourself up. So I think, collaboration is obviously it's better for your relationships with people, but it's also better for you. You're also going
Exactly.
to move up a lot quicker when you just set aside your envy or whatever frustration you're feeling with where you're at. And if you focus on celebrating where other people are at and really genuinely getting excited, you will move along with them.
Exactly. And if you're not coming from that lack of, oh no, they've surpassed me and now they're going to either take all my clients or my money's going to be gone or now they're not going to be my student anymore. Instead,
Hmm.
hey, what's possible? Look at all
Right.
they're creating now. I want that too. And that's going to push them forward too. So it's
Absolutely.
it's that abundance of, oh wow, look at all the
Absolutely.
possibilities. If it can happen for her, it can happen for me, and we can work together to, yep, rise all those ships.
I love that. Um, so what is, I want to switch gears again and kind of tie this all together. So let's say somebody watching right now is, a manager on a team or is just starting out with a business and they are feeling just really frustrated by everyone like rising up ahead of them or beating them or moving past them. That's totally normal. Number one, I want to honor you. And if you are like willing to be open about it with yourself, that is awesome. Like there's nothing unnatural about that. That's kind of how as a society we tend to feel.
Mm-hmm.
But what is a first step that that person can take
Yeah,
towards becoming more of a collaborator?
absolutely. And like, yeah, that was me too. Before I went on my healing journey and like worked on my inner self, I saw people making lots of money. And I'm like, why not me? Why can't that be me? And there was a lot of lack in there. I'm like, okay, well, if they're going to make it, then there's less for me. So the first step would be, I know my students hate me, but journaling, pulling out a journal, getting out all your thoughts. Where is this belief coming from? What are
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts on a deeper level about why there's a lack for you if someone else is doing well? Because once you can start naming what's going on in your mind, your heart, your spirit, you can start finally working through it. Because
Right.
you can't heal, you can't change what you don't know. So first step is starting to journal it out, just getting it all out of your mind. And then start every day, just start, saying affirmations of like, there is no competition or something that makes you feel good about seeing someone else doing well. Seeing someone else do well fills me with hope and possibilities. And
Mm-hmm.
not just speaking those words, because affirmations on their own don't really do that much, but
Right.
it's tapping into the feeling. You have to visualize it, feel it, and that's what really helps solidify it, and doing it again and again and continuing that journaling process also.
Absolutely. What about somebody who maybe is a little nervous to journal or like is like scared of what might come up? What should they do?
Sure. For them, doing something with prompts. So like light journaling with prompts where you don't have to just like get whatever's in your head out, but you can go and do some like light journaling where you get some prompts that say like, start off with like, how are you feeling today? And so maybe you want to, might be like, today I'm not feeling so good because my friend just won the lottery and all this stuff happened. So you don't have to
Right.
go like super deep dive into it at first, but like getting yourself, even writing about your day, like how my day went today, or something like that, and kind of ease
Right.
into it that way if you're not ready to deep dive into journaling.
Right. Yeah, and like to each his own, but I think that you touched on a really good point there, which is like just getting clear on what you're feeling and when.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's super important. Um, okay, so I love all of this. Um, I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to ask you. So I think, one of the biggest things that I learned in my own journey was for a long time, a lot of people like love to tell me that I shouldn't be focusing so much on having people on my feed to like interview them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that that's actually what led me to my niche, which is pretty crazy,
That
right?
is. Mm-hmm.
Because so many people kept telling me, you're wasting your time, you're not a podcaster, you're not an interviewer. Like, stop trying to build other people up and stop trying to talk about their businesses when you should be talking about your own. But in the end, I really went back to that, like, love of collaboration. I
Yeah,
wasn't focused on competition, and in the end, it brought me full circle to where I needed to focus.
I love
So,
that.
yeah, and it's really powerful. So I would really encourage anybody who's watching, ask yourself, like, am I in a competitive mindset because that's actually how I feel, or is it because it's how I think I'm supposed to feel?
Yeah, or if other people are putting that pressure on you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And you know, if um sorry, somebody sent a question. Somebody asked, what kind of discussion is this? So this is the kind of discussion where we're talking about collaboration and competition. Um, and speaking of, you know, like discussions, I love discussions like this because they really allow us to kind of flesh out important topics like this.
Mhm.
So I love I love conversations like this because I get to learn so much. You guys get to learn so much. And it really brings us back to the idea of collaboration. Both of us are giving our time for free. I'm not charging anything for it. But the
Right.
idea is to spark discussion and to really educate anybody who's watching. So that actually kind of worked perfectly with the topic. But yeah, do you have any last thoughts about collaboration versus competition?
No, just to really stay in that abundant mindset that there is enough resources, money, clients, opportunities, even if you're not a business, if you're in the workforce, there's so many opportunities. So just because someone else wants the same thing doesn't mean that there's going to be less for you. And the more that you're able to help each other, the more that you're going to grow and the more that other people outside of you are going to benefit. And it becomes a ripple effect of creating positive change instead of just focusing on me and I need the money and I need the clients and I need this job promotion or whatever it is. So
Absolutely.
abundance of let's all help each other. There's plenty to go around. That's really going to help you in the long run.
Absolutely. So I think that's a great place to end this. If anybody has any comments, any thoughts on the idea of collaboration versus competition, I know Tasha said you absolutely love this topic. That's awesome. I love to hear it. Um, but if you have any thoughts or if you want to challenge us in any way, feel free to drop us in the comments. I love to debate. Um, but this was a great conversation, Rebecca. And if anybody wants to work with you, how can they?
You can follow me over at I am Rebecca Forst on Instagram, or you can find me in the Heart Led Entrepreneurs group on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I'll see you in a few minutes for our support call.
Yeah, see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.